Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video, my sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over 9 NBA games for Friday, February 5th, 2021. I'm going to show you both sides of each game, and it'll be up to you to determine who you think is going to win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed to feel confident in your own pick. And if for whatever reason you're curious to know who I'm picking in these games, you can just join my Patreon where my picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please see the description of this video. I wish you guys the best of luck with your picks today, and let's go ahead and get into today's games. We got Pelicans, Pacers, Bulls, Magic, Raptors, Nets, Bucks, Cavs, Jazz, Hornets, Wizards, Heat, Timberwolves, Thunder, Pistons, Suns, Pistons, Suns, Celtics, and Clippers. So let's start with the first game. Pelicans and the Pacers. Pelicans play tomorrow, so what number can hit today can also hit tomorrow. And what I mean is today on the Gregorian has 12 date numerology, and if they play tomorrow, it's going to have 13 date numerology. And so Pelicans can either sit on 12 losses for the season with the win today, or they can get their 13th loss today heading into tomorrow with 13 date numerology, or they can get this 13th loss tomorrow. So keep that in mind when looking at this game, that they also play tomorrow. Pacers don't though, so maybe the head-to-head gives us a more solid look. There's two different ways you can look at this. The first one is it's the 42nd game, all-time head-to-head between these two teams, and Pacers with the win can get their 26th win, all-time head-to-head. 26 sums to 42, and the Pacers would become 2-0 head-to-head against the Pelicans for the season with a win. They would sweep the Pelicans, and at 20 sums to 26. But it also sums to 28 and 107, which is the 28th prime number. And today has 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. On the flip side, though, that would work against the Pacers and in favor of the Pelicans is that the Pelicans, it's their 11th away game. And with the win, the Pelicans can even the score 1-1 head to head against the Pacers for the season, as the Pacers get their 11th loss for the season. And then Pacers would sit on 12 wins, as Pelicans sit on 12 losses on a day with 12 date numerology. So you're going to have to decide which way this is going to go, most likely based on the all-time or the season. So does this 13 hit today or does it hit tomorrow? Bulls and Magic. Something that I find interesting about the Magic is that it's their 23rd game of the season, and they can get their 9th win for the season. 23 is the 9th prime. But what's interesting is that it's the 23rd and the 9th. If they do get their 9th win on the 23rd game, the number 239 is the 52nd prime number. And Magic would also get their 52nd head-to-head win against the Bulls regular season. Today is February 5th, written 2/5 or 5/2. Although, with that same idea of February 5th, 2/5, 5/2, the Bulls coach can get his 252nd regular season win for his career, 2/5/2, 2/5/2. Bulls would sit on 12 losses for the season on 12 date numerology, and they would get their 61st head-to-head win against the Magic regular season. Today with 48 date numerology, 48 sums to 61. And this is Magic's 12th home game. It is the 317th day of the Hebrew religious. 317 is the 66th prime number. And with the win, Magic would sit on 66 all-time losses against the Bulls as they get their 56th all-time head-to-head win against the Bulls, and Bulls would become 5-6 on the road with the loss, like 56. Although, again, it is the Magic's 23rd game of the season, and their coach can sit on 83 regular season wins as a coach for the Magic, 83 the 23rd prime number. And Magic would become 4-8 at home for the season on 48 date numerology. So you're going to have to decide which way these numbers are going to swing. And they do play each other back to back tomorrow. So what can hit today can hit tomorrow. And we talked about the number 13 in the first game with the Pelicans. They can get their 13th today or tomorrow. Same thing for the Bulls. They can get their 13th today or tomorrow. Today with 12 date numerology. Tomorrow with 13 date numerology. Raptors versus the Nets. We have a 15 pattern that's interesting, and then we have a 28 pattern that's pretty interesting too. So let's start with the 15, which would favor the Nets. Nets can get their 15th win for the season in their 15th home game of the season. The number 15 sums to 65 and 38. And Nets would sit on 65 all-time head-to-head losses against the Raptors as the Raptors become 3-8 on the road with the loss. The Raptors coach would sit on 120 wins regular season with the loss. 120 is the 15th triangular number. So you have that 15 pattern there for the Nets. And then today does have 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. 28 sums to 57 and 141. And with the loss, Nets would become 14-10 for a season record, which kind of looks like a 141, as the Raptors get their 57th regular season head-to-head win against the Nets. Nets would sit on 12 losses for the season on a day with 12 date numerology, so 12 and 28 would play in favor. And then it is the 317th day of the Hebrew Religious, the 66 prime. Raptors would get their 66th all-time head-to-head win against the Nets. So there's that narrative in favor of the Raptors. So you're going to have to decide 15 pattern or the 12 and 28 combined with the Hebrew 66. So Bucks and Cavaliers. It is the Bucks' 11th away game. And Cavaliers are going to try and even the score and become 1-1 head-to-head against the Cavaliers, like in 11. If they do that, the Cavaliers would also pick up their 11th win for the season, and they would sit on 12 regular season losses on 12 date numerology. Today also has 48 date numerology, and the Bucks coach would get his 48th regular season loss as a coach for the Bucks. The flip side, though, the Bucks could up the series 2-0, like 20, with the win. The number 20 sums to 107, the 28th prime number, as well as 28. And today does have 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. These two teams play back-to-back tomorrow as well. So we have another 13 issue. What can hit today can hit tomorrow. Tomorrow has 13 date numerology on the Gregorian. And either the Bucks are going to sit on 13 wins for the season heading into tomorrow, or the Cavs are going to have 13 losses for the season heading into tomorrow. However, today is the Cavaliers' 13th home game. So they could get their 13th loss in their 13th home game heading into tomorrow to play on 13 date numerology. So keep in mind when you see these games playing back to back like this, that what can hit today can most likely hit tomorrow as well. So we got the Jazz versus the Hornets. It's the 23rd game for the Jazz, 23rd game for the Hornets. The Hornets win. The coach gets his 83rd regular season win for his career. 83 is the 23rd prime number. The Hornets would sit on 12 losses for the season in their 12th home game. Today with 12 date numerology on the Gregorian. This is the Jazz 12th away game for the season as well. The Hornets can become, or they would pick up their 20th win head to head all time against the Jazz. We know the number 20 sums to 28. Today has 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. With that being said, though, the number 28 also sums to 57. And with the loss, the Hornets can become 5-7 at home for the season with the loss. They would sit on 10 wins for the season as Jazz becomes 1-0 head to head against the Hornets with the win for the season, like 10. And in relation to 23, it both being their 23rd game, 23 is the ninth prime number, and Jazz can just go ahead and get their ninth away win for the season. That could be the connection for the 23. Hornets don't play tomorrow, and Jazz don't play tomorrow. For the 18, it could be for Gregorian 48 date numerology. 48 sums to 61, and 61 is the 18th prime number. So you have which side is the 23 going to favor? Is it going to favor the 9 side, or is it going to favor the 83 side? And there is these 12s on the board. It goes with the 20, but you know, Hornets can just sit on 10 as Jazz become 1-0, like 10 head to head against for the season. You're going to have to decide which way it's going to go on that one. Not a whole lot to go by, but might be worth building upon it. Wizards and Heat. If Heat win this game, they would sit on 14 losses for the season as they sit on 43 all-time head-to-head losses against the Wizards. 43 is the 14th prime number, and Wizards would also get their 14th loss for the season. And so you have this 14 pattern. Heat would also sit on 43 regular season head-to-head losses against the Wizards with the win. So you have a 14-43 pattern here between all-time and regular season. And then today has 12 date numerology on the Gregorian, and Wizards would become 3-7 for an away record with the loss, 37 the 12th prime. 37 sums to 132, and it's the 132nd regular season head-to-head matchup between these two teams. On the flip side, though, it is the 136th all-time head-to-head matchup between these two teams, and Wizards can become 6-13 for a record with the win. These two teams just played each other, and it was their 135th all-time, and Wizards became 5-13, which is an anagram of 135, and now they can become 6-13 in the 136th all-time. So keep that in mind. Thinking about it. Also, in relation to the 12, it could go against the Wizards, or it could go in favor of the Wizards. They can just become 2-1, 1-2 head-to-head against the Heat. One of these teams are going to become 1-2 or 2-1 head-to-head against the other. So we've already seen the 135 be in favor of the Wizards, the 5-13. And they could go with the 136, 6-13. But there is a 14 pattern here. 14, 43, the 14th prime. They get the 14th loss. And 37 does sum to 132, the 132nd head-to-head regular season. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Trying to think of anything else to add here. Might have to add some stuff on top of this as well. But I know 136 is the 16th triangular number. And 16 sums to 93. Heat can get their 93rd all-time head-to-head. So that would favor the Heat. But the 613 is kind of compelling too, because it's already hit with the 513. Hit the other day already. So we'll see. Best of luck to you on this one. Hopefully this is enough. If not, you should have enough here to build on top of it. Timberwolves Thunder. It's the 11th away game For the Timberwolves, 10th home game. For the Thunder, with the win, Thunder can become 10 and 11 for a season record with the win, as the Wolves get their 10th away loss for the season. On the flip side, though, today does have a 12-date numerology on the Gregorian. Thunder would get their 12th loss for the season, as they get their 37th regular season head-to-head loss against the Timberwolves. 37, the 12th prime number. Speaking of 37, though, Thunder could become 3 and 7 at home with the win, like 37, the 12th prime. But it doesn't really help much because Thunder can also become 2 and 8, like 28 today with 28 date numerology on the Gregorian, so that can go either way. Both of these teams play each other tomorrow, so again, you have this case of what can hit today can hit tomorrow. Tomorrow has 29 date numerology on the Gregorian, the 10th prime number. So the Timberwolves can either go into tomorrow 2 and 9 on the road, like 29, or they can go into tomorrow with 10 losses on the road, 29 the 10th prime. And then vice versa. I guess the only option for them, they would be able to go, they can go with 2-9. They can win today, go 2 and 9 tomorrow, and then get their 10th loss tomorrow. Then it would play both numbers each time. That would be a thought. What else? So tomorrow will be their 128th. It'll be the coach's 129th. 87-42. So I'll probably have to look at this a little bit longer. But keep it in mind for yourself when you're looking at this. They play each other again back to back tomorrow. So what can hit today can hit tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow will be the 6th day of the month. Timberwolves can go into tomorrow with 6 wins, or they can get their 6th win tomorrow. 13th date numerology. 13 is the 6th prime number. You know, it's the 37th day on the Gregorian. Thunder can go in 3 and 7 with the home record, or Timberwolves can go in with 37 regular season head-to-head wins against. So there's a lot of numbers that can play today and tomorrow. So which makes it tougher. Pistons versus the Suns. This is the second and last time these two are facing for the season in the first half. So there's a 22 pattern here. Pistons 22nd game. Their second head-to-head. Pistons can get their second win on the road as they become 2-0 head-to-head against the Suns for the season. The number 20 sums to 28 today with 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. Today does also have 12 date numerology on the Gregorian. Suns can get their 12th win for the season. It's the 21st game for the season for the Suns. It's their 9th home game. They can sit on 9 losses as their coach gets his 219th regular season win for his career. 21st game, 9th home game, and get his 219th regular season win. Today does have 48 date numerology on the Gregorian. He would sit on 48 regular season losses as a coach for the Suns. Pistons play tomorrow, so you have another case of just basically the same as the Timberwolves, the 29 and the 110. Pistons play tomorrow. Tomorrow has 29 date numerology, the 10th prime number. Do Pistons go into tomorrow 2 and 9 on the road, and then they get their 10th loss on the road for the season tomorrow, 29 the 10th prime, or do they just get their 10th loss on the road today and go into tomorrow, 29 the date numerology on Gregorian, the 10th prime? Can go either way. If Pistons become 2 and 9, like 29 on the road today, the 10th prime, the Suns would also get their 10th loss for the season, so that might be something that goes with it. And then the Suns would become 4 and 5 at home with the loss, as their coach sits on 45 regular season wins as a coach for the Suns. And then the last game of the night, Celtics versus the Clippers. Today is February 5th, 2/5, like 25, with 48 date numerology. If Clippers win this game, they become 48-97 all time head to head against the Celtics. 97 is the 25th prime number, which would be today's date in date numerology. 48-97, the 25th prime. February 5th, 2/5, like 25, 48 date numerology. The number 48 sums to 133. This is the 133 regular season head-to-head matchup between these two. 48 sums to 61, the 18th prime. Clippers would get their 18th win for the season. It is the 23rd day of the 5th month on the Hebrew Civil, like 235. This is the Clippers' 235th regular season game for their coach. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. He could get his 90th regular season loss as the Clippers get their 90th regular season head-to-head loss against the Celtics. Today does have 12 date numerology on the Gregorian. Celtics in their 12th away game can get their 12th win for the season in their 21st game of the season. 12-21 reflections of each other. So you have this interesting 48-97 all-time record. It's 133, so that 48 is in the regular as well. But then you have this 90 down here and this 90 here. And then you do have the 12 and the 12, 12 date numerology. So you just kind of have to think about it a little bit, see what seems more practical. All right, thanks guys.